Hello everyone, my name is Isabel and I've been working as a fall semester intern for SASA in the research department, focusing on the relationship between social entrepreneurship and ancient studies organisations such as SASA. In order to save ancient studies, we at SASA believe that ancient studies fields must turn towards widespread outreach to change the attitudes and perceptions about our fields as well as inside them. Since outreach involves expansive interpersonal contacts and network development, this enterprise naturally falls within the concepts of social entrepreneurship. In this video, I will discuss ways in which ancient studies students and scholars, departments and organisations, as well as SASA itself, can better use social entrepreneurial methods in order to accomplish this ambitious goal. Firstly, to contextualise this research project, I will provide some of the many definitions of social entrepreneurship so that we can understand its essence. Concisely, social entrepreneurship combines the passion of a social mission with an image of business-like discipline, innovation, and determination. Social entrepreneurs are almost always considered as individuals who kickstart a process of change. Individuals are easier to pinpoint and are visibly, personally committed to achieving social change. This is interesting when considering social entrepreneurship as a tool which may benefit the field of ancient studies, where we often work in teams. SASA is an established organisation which has leaders of departments and a singular founder, yet a wide and diverse team already completing work in various areas. Considering some successful examples of social enterprises in the US is useful both to inspire potential future activities of SASA and to simply understand the mechanisms which guarantee success in social entrepreneurship so that they may be utilised by other ancient studies organisations too. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation locates and connects available ideas, markets and researchers and institutions to address long-standing global problems such as malaria. The key behaviour identified by scholars is recognising a need and creating an opportunity to achieve the solution. The first is a cornerstone of SASA and the second is already its goal. This should inspire diverse ancient studies organisations to connect and work together to combat the downward trend in humanities. It's also helpful to mention 4 more key methods of social entrepreneurship identified by scholars, which could be picked up by ancient studies organisations for further success. Focusing on the programmatic side of innovation, which may also be described as the what and not the how. This is reminiscent of the strategy of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and as stated, it's also a focus of SASA, in the form of studying the downward trend in the field of humanities in general. Again, this evidences the achievements of ancient studies organisations can celebrate if they collaborate. The use of high-performance management practices, which may include continuous improvement, quality management, strong financial controls, and high accountability. These strategies do not inherently have a social foundation, as they are common in general business ventures. Their particular use in social entrepreneurship ensures the success of the social enterprise on the business side, which leads to success on the social side. Social entrepreneurs almost always build their organisations from scratch. To quote Dees and Anderson, 2 leading scholars, the issue is not entrepreneurship. This has interesting implications for the field of ancient studies, where most key organisations are well established. As a new enterprise with a timely and specific mission, SASA is contrary to this trend and could inspire other organisations to found new departments focusing on saving ancient studies. Despite the emphasis on the individual, most methodologies of social entrepreneurship also emphasise the importance of a good team, and the diverse qualities which should be incorporated into an enterprise are people with visionary ideas, people with leadership skills, and people committed to helping others. Those who are motivated to establish or participate in a social enterprise often combine more than one of these traits already within their repertoire. The conception of a social enterprise, especially in its foundational stages, as an ideas machine, requires a careful balance between sufficient creative minds which work well together and financial feasibility as a young organisation with limited resources. To conclude the section on methodology, I'll present the crucial processes of social entrepreneurship as defined by Dees, the important scholar whom I already mentioned. These are adopting a mission to create and sustain social, not private, value, recognising and relentlessly pursuing new opportunities which can serve that mission, engaging in a process of continuous innovation, adaptation and learning, acting boldly without being limited by scarcity of current resources, and exhibiting heightened accountability to the constituencies served and for the outcomes created. Some of these ideas have already been touched upon, and keeping them in mind when evaluating the methods of an ancient studies enterprise and weighing them against future directions and activities may form part of a calculated approach to following in the footsteps of successful social endeavours, thereby achieving social change through business strategies. It's important to use these principles for self-regulation and reflection within an organisation to check that we are always closely following the road to success as a social enterprise. This is as applicable to SASA as it is to other organisations within the field. In light of this, I'll examine how and where SASA already uses these methods to understand their current applicability to the organisation, and more importantly, their potential implications for future improved success in achieving social change. By doing so, it becomes clear how other ancient studies organisations can make the most of these methods and achieve greater outreach and success in bucking the downward trend. On a most basic yet very significant level, SASA's mission strives for inclusivity, accessibility, education, quality, growth, and passion. The practical activities of SASA, such as organising educational reading groups, which also offer experience for the graduates who lead them, connecting like-minded scholars in a dwindling field, arranging live events to catalyse public interest, and conducting research into the downward trend in ancient studies, show these values successfully put into action. As specified by Dees, this demonstrates an enterprise which is businesslike, disciplined, innovative, and determined. This is indicative of future success, continuing to follow principles of social entrepreneurship. SASA recognises and relentlessly pursues new opportunities which serve its mission by setting up various projects which have now been running successfully for some time, and moreover which are constantly new and updated, with growing teams of people to realise them for the public. By forming a diverse, interdisciplinary and international team to work on an increasing number and scope of projects, SASA is equipped to engage in continuous innovation, adaptation, and learning. Likewise, by taking the initiative to engage in currently achievable projects, SASA achieves scalable success which leads to recognition by larger organisations. Furthermore, utilising volunteers who exchange experience for involvement, SASA can set ever more ambitious goals, demonstrating actions which are bold without limitations on account of scarcity of current resources as a new organisation. SASA's mission as a not-for-profit organisation and the passion of its team clearly demonstrates high accountability to the target social groups and outcomes creative. By comparing the activities and aims of SASA parallel with the criteria outlined by Dees, it's recognisable that SASA is already enjoying success with social entrepreneurial methods. Therefore, it seems logical that the organisation should continue to utilise these and expand the ways in which it does, for the objective of effecting social change. I'll next discuss common practical applications of social entrepreneurship, which SASA, and by extension all like-minded organisations, could likewise put into use. Building a support system is widely recognised as important for the success of a social enterprise. The main objective at the foundation stage of the organisation should be getting people into the infrastructure. This is something which SASA already successfully does, recruiting volunteers at all levels and interns, but as the organisation grows, a more concrete methodology for this process could be effectively put into place. Likewise, the same could be done for the process of forging connections with other organisations. Assessment of results and outcomes is another key to success for a social enterprise. The main purpose of this is the monitoring and evaluation of social impact. In other words, looking at if and how the organisation is successfully achieving its mission. This continuous assessment may be quantitative or qualitative, and both are likely to be useful for SASA, given the statistical and anecdotal nature of its endeavours. One example may be collecting the success stories of benefactors of SASA's various ventures. There are many aspects of SASA from which scholars and the public benefit, from access to the resources or information relating to a career in ancient studies, to connection to the wider community and participation in live events or study groups. This should be permanently and not randomly recorded because it has multiple purposes. Internally, it's useful for future comparison to assess development and identify areas which need improvement or resources which should be most cleanly obtained. Externally, this assessment can make people aware of the achievements of the mission, spread awareness to increase social impact, and connect the enterprise to other organisations so that both can grow. An endeavour which SASA already pursues, though not specifically within social entrepreneurial intentions, is hosting events. This activity is another practical application of social entrepreneurship, so this is an area in which SASA can move further towards social enterprise methodology. Such events can include conferences and can generate revenue, spark collaboration, and position the organisation within the field. Costs incurred can be met with sponsorships, although they would be significantly diminished if events were virtual, as is SASA's nature. Another field of study within social entrepreneurship relevant to SASA is investigating how social enterprises reach their audiences. Growing the audience of SASA remains a priority due to the youth of the organisation. An important first step is to define the target audience, which for SASA is already key to the mission. This target audience could potentially be any person who may be inspired to pursue ancient studies, and also includes all those already in the field, especially in the US. In order to produce relevant content, social enterprises should narrow their target audience. For SASA, this does not mean cutting any demographic off, but potentially compartmentalizing different groups according to their interests or needs. Considering the wide range of people who have interest in ancient studies, this seems like sound advice for any organisation in the field. With the wide variety of output already generated by SASA, from live archaeogaming events to international summer reading and translation groups, this is not a new method to introduce, but rather one to continue successfully developing. To conclude this introduction to the use of social entrepreneurship within ancient studies organisations, there is little more to say than that these two fields could clearly benefit from being put into use together. SASA's work demonstrates that social entrepreneurship is feasible within an academic setting, and this strong emphasis on a social mission and delivery to the public is a determined and promising way to approach saving ancient studies in the 21st century. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed.